Trustee Hacker?
Here.
Trustee Lucas?
Here.
Trustee Electman?
Here.
Supervisor Prater?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. To review and approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting held on May 10th, 2021.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Electman, seconded by trustee Bolts. Any discussion?
Trustee Electman?
Aye.
Trustee Lucas?
Aye.
Trustee Hacker?
Aye.
Trustee Bowles?
Aye.
Supervisor Prater?
Aye, motion passes. Next meeting will have many more to pass, okay? I missed that on the other one, sorry about that, clerk. Audience participation, anyone wish to say anything? Hearing none, correspondence? I have none, John? Excellent, moving on, review and approval of board audit report. I was sent today, any questions? I'll make a motion to approve the board audit report,
Okay, second.
seconded by Donald Bolts.
Trustee Bowles?
Aye.
Trustee Hacker?
Aye.
Trustee Lucas?
Aye.
Trustee Electman?
Aye.
Supervisor Prater?
Aye, motion passes. Nothing on unfinished business. New business, monthly financial investment report, that's information only. Discussion and approval of resolution 2021-2, that's depository in, for funds, that's the bank that we use, is a yearly thing that we normally do for the public bank, it's the bank that we use. Any questions regarding this? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I was gonna say, I have a question, I just want to, I'm not familiar with it, since I'm new, I just wanna make sure that no one has a financial interest in the institution.
No.
Negative. But we only have we only have someone that has a first. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Motion and seconded, then we have questions. No, I do not have any at all. This has been the bank that, the township has used
And that nobody else does.
By
I just have
10 years?
for over 10, yeah.
Yeah, when Republic took over.
First National.
First National, yeah. Yeah, it's continued since then, yes. And I believe it's been that way because it's been a local branch here, and then we wanted to keep it within the township, correct? Yes.
Okay,
So what are you saying, if somebody had a personal account there, you wouldn't like that?
no, a conflict of interest.
All right, well, that's what I wanna make sure, yeah, okay.
Or if it's something that they had an investment in, we're all gonna have accounts everywhere. I just wanted to make sure that no one would be financially, complaining because of our account, that's
Oh,
all.
I got you, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm satisfied, everybody said that there's no conflict of interest, so that's, I'm satisfied, thank you for that.
Any other questions? Hearing none, please call roll.
Trustee Lucas?
Yes? Aye.
Trustee Hacker?
Aye.
Trustee Bowles?
Aye.
Trustee Electman?
Aye.
Supervisor Prater?
Aye, motion passes. Discussion of COVID vaccine clinic. This was requested by trustee Lucas. Go ahead, trustee Lucas.
So DuPage County is willing to have local vaccine clinics, whether it's at a company or a municipality. When I did speak to Supervisor Prater about putting this on the agenda, her concern was that it's kind of widely available, and it is, and it's something that we have to, we're gonna have to actually, kind of go out and beat bushes and to get people, because we don't have any way of really notifying people. I think, this is, I think in the future it'd be nice just to collect email addresses and everything, but that's, beside the point. So, I want to check more with the county, and we're about 50% or so, and DuPage County is one of the better counties in the state of Illinois. Well, we were just still encouraging people to sign up because a lot of people haven't signed up. So what I propose is see what this is like, as far as the county and as far as underserved neighborhoods and stuff. And then, if it looks like there's still a need in our community to have one, then it's something that we can vote on our next meeting in July. And as far as getting people, since school's not in session, but school's in session, we could have sent notices home, with kids and stuff. But we can still go to churches and put notices up in the grocery store. So that's kind of, my idea that, like I said, if there's still a need in July, then I would like us to have a vote on whether we should have it. So I'm just wondering, curious what other people's input is on this, on the subject.
Personally, doctor's offices are giving the vaccine. St. Andrews, you can go right down the way there and they're offering free vaccinations. You can get it at Walgreens, Walmart, Meijer, CVS. Hi, Steve. I'm sorry, Steve just walked in. We couldn't have a seat right next to Mark and Sean. At the same time, I also did talk with Wayne Township. They did have a vaccination day. And the way that it was described to me after speaking with Brandy, the supervisor there, wherever we have, if we choose to have it, we have to have either the health department or the county, the state health department or the county, survey the area where we're gonna have it, okay? We have to give a definite amount of people who are going to come to this event. They can cancel the event at any moment in time that they want to. They said that they could get 110 people there, I believe 100 or 110 people there, and only 40 people showed up. They said that they should have canceled the event. And I don't think that's a good service to our people in Winfield Township at all whatsoever, to cancel the event on the day of if something like that were to happen, God forbid. Also, I think if people want to have the vaccination, I think the majority of the people have gotten the vaccination if they wanted it by now. My personal opinion on the matter. Trustee Bolts?
Well, I don't know, wherever you walk into, I went into Walmart yesterday and this guy's standing right there, he goes, "You want vaccination?" Well, I'm done. So supervisor's talking about, yes, it's out there. But if you wanna do a study on it, I guess, see what the county says and then, bring it back. Doesn't hurt to bring what the info they give you.
Right. Does anybody else have any thoughts?
Trustee Hacker? I'll go around the table. Trustee Hacker?
Yes, bring it to us.
Trustee Lecna?
I'm willing to listen, but I agree, you can go anywhere and get one. And DuPage County Senior Citizens Council, or whatever they're called, they will send a nurse to your home if you're bedridden or you can't get out or whatever. They will send somebody to your house. So I'm really not sure the need is there, but go for it. You want to do the research? Sure, we'll listen.
Okay. So how about, we put something on our website, bilingual. We have, I'm sure in our township we have more than 2 languages spoken, but we do have a large population that will speak our Spanish speaking. So maybe that's something that, because I don't know if every single pharmacy has it. I haven't checked. Before it was select pharmacies, and now with the availability, maybe it's more pharmacies. But perhaps on our website, we can just put a notice both in English and Spanish of names and addresses and phone numbers of the pharmacies that are offering the vaccine. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. I can look into that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that would be a good idea, and like I said, give it another month, because, there's one school of thought saying people who had the vaccine have actually, received it. I like the fact that if you walked into a Walmart, they offered it to you. I'm like, yay, it's a great world. So, all right, so yeah, so let's, I'll report back next month and see what the county says as far as our numbers of, I don't know if they're collecting like the aggregate data of like per zip code, or if there's an area that they see as sparse. I do know that they have literature to hand out that is in English and Spanish, so I don't know if they're collecting information on that as well. But I'll check with them and just find out if there's still a need or what their thoughts are at that time.
Thank you, trustee Lucas. Is that it?
Great, so thanks for putting that on the website, Nicole, I appreciate it.
No problem. Moving on, discussion and approval of ordinance 2021-3, establishing responsible bidder requirements for or on construction projects. This was requested by trustee Hacker, and I'll let you kind of talk about it at first, and then we'll go from there. Is that fair enough?
Sure.
Okay.
So this is gonna be like an amendment to the regular RBO, responsible bidder ordinance, where
Wait a minute.
the
First off,
purchasing order.
why don't we do this? I'm sorry, I said discussion and approval. Why don't we make a motion first and get a second, and then
Oh.
discussion? How about that? I'm sorry, my fault.
First time here.
No, I know, that's my fault. I said it's my fault. Motion?
Motion to discuss.
Yeah.
Responsible bidder ordinance.
Excellent. The second?
I'll second.
I'll second it. Lucas?
Excellent. Now discussion. Okay, go ahead, Sean, sorry.
So it's gonna eliminate, it's gonna give us more options than just accepting the lowest bidder. It's gonna let us choose the more qualified bidder. So it's all,
But by law, we have to accept the lowest bidder.
and that's where DuPage County ran into a problem. They had to accept the lowest bidder, and they got a contractor that wasn't very good, and they had, like, he was from Indiana, I guess, allegedly, and was coming up here and pulling guys out of labor ready or something. And then they had to redo the work. So this is gonna eliminate that. And when I work out of town, when I was in DC, I saw that firsthand. I saw the contractor from West Virginia stop by the Home Depot, pick up different guys every day, and they weren't treated very nicely. So if we can make a difference in the day and train our children and our future, it's our tax dollars. It's not gonna hurt.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Oh, I'm kind of confused on this. How does this have to do with the different funds we have here? Like, we got John's Road District and we have the office. How does
This
this?
will only affect the township
It only
office,
affects
towns,
us here
yes.
in the office here.
Correct. It did not affect John in any way, shape, or form. Road district would not be affected by this in any way, shape, or form.
So I guess my question is, who would come here to work that had to be specially trained? That's my question, if what you're getting at.
And the bid would have to be over $20,000.
Okay.
So there was some talk about putting a new office up here at one time, I heard, a long time ago.
Or possibly an extension of the.
Yes, so that would fall
building.
underneath.
Yeah, I got you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got, let me know when it's my turn to talk.
Go ahead, trustee Lucas.
So I wanted some clarification on that, Nicole. I understand the road district budget is separate, but if we pass an ordinance, and if the ordinance says it's for the entire township, couldn't we apply the ordinance to both the highway and non-highway business?
Negative.
Okay, it is, so I want to say there is something in the law about responsible bidder, and I actually read this a while ago, so I would have to reread it, not about the highway, but I thought that there was something in the law stating because it used the term responsible bidder,
Mhm.
and I believe that it said it was like, the lowest qualified, so I don't think it necessarily, I'd have to reread it, but I don't think it necessarily has to say the very lowest.
This is lowest responsible bidder.
The lowest responsible, that's it.
Yes.
You might have some unqualified people that are not the lowest bidder, and I think that's what the law states.
Correct.
Okay.
Lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, so, and then my other question is, because this is still, you know what, gonna say, we'll have to, spend time with you, John, if you're sitting there, because a lot of this with the highway department, I just don't understand. So, I understand the budget's different, and then John also is the person who oversees it or manages, runs, whatever, administers, whatever you say. But the highway department doesn't, like, they don't have ordinances or anything.
Yes, we do.
So,
Yes, they do, it's separate.
oh, that's what I was wondering. Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, I didn't know you guys passed, ordinances. Okay, now I see why it wouldn't apply. All right, well, that answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So would John be willing to adopt one too then?
I'd have to take a look at it and run it past my lawyer.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike, I just went to a lawyer. Yes,
Steve,
I'd be willing to look at it.
Steve, our lawyer, do you have any?
Yeah,
Questions you wanna add to
so
that?
Nicole sent me this draft ordinance on Wednesday of this week. So I just got a chance to look at it today, and I submitted some suggested revisions to it to Nicole. I think the big questions or issues I had, first of all, by way of background, the township does require by statute that the township award contracts to the lowest responsible bidder. And that is a term of art, if you will, that requires them to be in compliance with the specifications that are put on the street as part of the front end documents. So anything that you include in your invitation to bid, whatever other documents you put out with that, they're required to show that they comply with all of those. One of the things that the state law requires is on any project involving an improvement on public land, just about every improvement on public land is subject to compliance with the Illinois Prevailing Wage Act. The Illinois Prevailing Wage Act includes a lot of the requirements that are in this ordinance. So by law, before the township can approve a contract to give work to anyone, and that's bid or non-bid, they're required to show compliance with the Prevailing Wage Act if the act applies. So with that in mind, I did go through and make a few suggested revisions, which we can talk about or we can hand it out. I don't care how you want to do it, but some of these I thought were more significant, some are more just language. But as a preliminary matter, the ordinance form that was submitted to me made references to the township's purchasing policy, which I've never seen. I don't know if we have one. I don't know if we have an ordinance. If we have one, whether it was adopted by ordinance and whether we still have an ordinance number. So as a matter of form, the ordinance right now makes a reference to and insists on being incorporated into our purchasing policy, which we don't have. I would assume that you can pass it even with that in place. It just won't be attached to any existing purchasing policy. I clarified that it applies to competitively bid projects. That's 20,000 or more, will exceed 20,000, which already has to be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, as I mentioned. Let's see. I also added a phrase that said that the terms and conditions of this ordinance are in addition to any and all other legal requirements for the award of a contract to a prospective bidder. Specifically, there are several other laws that all competitive bids have to comply with in order to be successful. For example, the Drug-Free Workplace Act, there's just a list of 10 of them, 15 of them. And normally, when we're asked to provide a legal review of a front-end package of invitation to bids, notice to bidders, general conditions, all of those sorts of things, we would give you, in addition to the standard documents that are prepared by your architect or engineer, a form called what we call a compliance form that specifies all of the specific statutes that project is subject to, that the contractor has to meet, in addition to the items that are in the Prevailing Wage Act or in this ordinance. And then the other thing I added, and it was really for discussion purposes, but I think it's a really good idea just for consideration. It's not required by law, but it's something to think about, And that is, I added at the end of the second ordained paragraph, a provision that says that the board has the right to suspend the requirements of this ordinance that exceed applicable law in the event by a vote of a majority of the members of the trustees that are voting at a public meeting. So if you have a meeting and you have only one bid, but it doesn't comply with this ordinance and you desperately need to get the work done, I didn't want you to be in a situation where you'd have to amend this ordinance before you could award that contract if it otherwise complies with law. So to summarize it a little bit, that phrase I added gives you the flexibility to suspend the requirements of this ordinance to the extent they exceed other applicable law, because they overlap with applicable law. If and when you need to get a contract awarded for an emergency project. For example, let's say you have a boiler failure. You're in an urgent situation to get a contract awarded. No one bids on the project or that complies with this ordinance, or you get one bid and it doesn't comply. This ordinance would prohibit you from being able to award the contract above and beyond what state law would require you to insist on this person or this contractor complying. So the idea was to just give you some flexibility in the application if there was a urgent situation like that. But that's for you guys to decide. It's not a legal provision, just a recommendation. And then I had some other, just some minor changes that I made, more language than anything else. With regard to insurance, I said, it says certificates of insurance indicating the following coverages: general liability, workers' comp, completed operations, and automobile. And what I wrote is, and other forms of insurances may be required by the township in forms and amounts and from carriers as specified by the township, because there may be projects where you need some other type of coverage other than what's shown in this ordinance, and you have the right to require it. We don't want to make the township officials down the road think that that's the only insurance that they can require. So not really changing the intent or the purpose or the effect of the ordinance, but just trying to make sure it doesn't tie your hands unnecessarily. So those are the essential elements. The rest that I changed really had to do with language and formatting. So the big points are a provision that allows you to suspend it, a provision that makes it clear that it's in addition to other legal requirements, and a provision that says that it's applicable to competitively bid projects. Those are the three main points, and the others are just kind of language and formatting. So happy to answer any questions. I don't know if the board got a chance to look at this.
So that can all be added onto this?
Yeah.
You already did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a red line, so
Do you-
you can share that.
Go ahead.
Just have a question for Sean. So this, you're talking about projects here in the township building over $20,000.
Correct.
Wouldn't we be the ones choosing the contractor, this board?
Yes.
So doesn't it seem like unnecessary regulation? Because we're gonna all have to agree on the most competitive bidder with the fair labor, like,
It's
why would we not agree on that?
because the wording is the lowest, so.
But
we
it's
get
the
it.
lowest responsible.
Correct.
That's what the
According to the law.
statute says.
Isn't that what you're saying?
Well, like he said, responsible, like an art term, so this is gonna define it. They're training your children, my children. They're making a future for our citizens. So that's
Who's they?
responsible, whoever contractor we hire,
They're training our children?
apprenticeship programs, yes.
Okay.
Whether it's the ABC or the unions or the other non-union.
Okay.
My nephew's been through the non-union one, I've been through the union one. I've trained probably 7. They're all have families, buying houses, so it's important.
But I guess I'm just saying, like, why wouldn't we all agree on that without being regulated to agree on that? I think that's where why.
I did a walkthrough today at a park district and they reiterated this to 30 of us sitting there. So obviously it's needed somewhere.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
other people have done it, other townships, park districts, fire districts, so that they're not bound by just the vague lowest bidder.
Okay.
So, I want to add something, that's, kind of when I was asking about I don't know if it was a resolution that were, a specific bank that we used, and we do the resolution every year. I guess that was kind of like my question, wasn't sure why we were doing a resolution, because we use it. So I guess the resolution, if I'm understanding it properly, is that we all say, hey, you know what, we're doing this local, they've supported us throughout the years, we've supported them, and we want to keep that. So I know what you're saying, Barbara, but I think it's, the way I see it, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'll just affirm the resolution. And I think, what that Sean is proposing is also just to affirm that as well. And that would be a thing that we have to do every year. But I think that's just, saying that, what, we really are committed to this, and this is what we want to do.
I just think it's interesting that there's already laws in place for this. There's already laws in place for this. And I'm trying to figure out,
Yeah,
it's redundant is what I think Bart is trying to say, literally, it's redundant. But, I understand where Sean's coming from.
Yeah, well, we could say that about the township in general. That's what society is saying right now, that the township's redundant. So we could have that discussion too.
But we're not talking about that right now.
I
We're talking
understand.
about this.
Yeah.
Whatever,
We're in Illinois.
probably the biggest difference between what's in here and what's already required by law has to do with the apprenticeship program.
Mm-hmm.
The Prevailing Wage Act says that the term general prevailing rate of hourly wages includes, when used in the act, means the hourly cash wages plus annualized fringe benefits for training and apprenticeship programs approved by the U.S. Department of Labor Bureau of Apprenticeship and Training, Health and Welfare, Insurance, Vacations, Pensions paid generally in the locality in which the work is being performed to employees engaged in the work of a similar character on public works. So that's what prevailing wage means in the state law, which we have to follow no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
In the ordinance, it says evidence of participation in apprenticeship training programs applicable to the work to be performed on the project, which are approved and registered with the U.S. Department of Labor's apprenticeship or its successor organization, and evidence that any applicable apprenticeship program has graduated at least 5 apprentices in each of the construction crafts the bidder will perform on the project. Evidence of graduation rates are not required for apprenticeship crafts dedicated exclusively to transportation. The required evidence includes, but is not limited to, a copy of all applicable apprenticeship agreements for any apprentices who will perform work on the project. So it's really just stipulating that whatever apprentice program the contractor happens to be enrolled in, which he's going to have to fund anyway, has to be an apprentice program that's graduated 5 apprentices. Everything else is pretty much already in here, or already in the statute. All the stuff concerning certified payrolls is already in the statute. Compliance with the Prevailing Wage Act is one of the requirements of the ordinance, which is already a requirement for the township. The names and addresses of subcontractors before the subcontractor commences work, that is typically included in front-end documents. But it's just a way of memorializing things that we would probably either include or recommend be included in going forward. So I don't think it hurts you or, negatively impacts your ability to attract contractors.
So Sean, which ordinance do you prefer? The one that Steve proposed or the one that you sent out to everybody?
I'm fine with the one with Steve is, as long as the majority of the trustees, right? So it's just the 4 trustees vote on it?
The board.
The board.
The majority of the board.
Right, that's the, because
Board of trustees.
The township supervisor is a trustee on the board's meeting,
And that,
not to be. So you would need a majority of out of 5, so 3 of 5 to suspend it. Otherwise, it applies.
Well, that's what I'm gonna get, I'm gonna get nothing, right?
No,
No, I
it
don't.
would take a majority vote to
Well,
send
I
it.
just saw it today, I just saw it today.
I
Oh, question to
understand.
ask
No.
you, you wanna pass a
I just saw it
resolution to
today.
ask Steve?
Surprised.
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's why, you know,
No, you just
that's
did
why,
it and sent it, and I just
I
sat
know.
down and I
yeah,
got
you
it.
just sent it
I
to me,
understand.
yeah.
so,
So my question is,
sorry,
there's 2021-03, there's 2 of them right there. That's, my question is, do you like the way yours was phrased or the additions that Steve put in there?
and rather than put you on the
Yeah.
head of a pin here, the other option is to take a look at mine, come back next month and
Mhm.
make a decision and vote on it then.
Yeah.
I mean, or
No,
you
it's
can,
just the table.
or we can pull out the red line version and give everybody a copy and look at it right now and decide. Whatever you guys want to do, it's the
Right.
majority's ball here, not mine.
Because you have, that's why I'm asking, because we have 2 of them, so we can always ask the table and come back for it.
Well, I like the apprenticeships, and I like that to stay.
Okay.
Because it really is important, it's something beautiful when you see a kid, you know, who had trouble everywhere else, and now has a house, a family, a car, contributing to society. And what I saw when I was working out of town with the contractors picking up people at Home Depot, no.
I think both of them have the apprenticeships in there, both.
Yeah,
both of them
I
do.
didn't change your language on apprenticeship at all, except correct the spelling of perform and capitalize project.
All right then, yeah, we can vote on the one that Steve did.
The one that Steve did?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And if there's any concerns with it after you look at it closer, you can bring it back.
So now
Are you comfortable with that as well, Judy, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, because she seconded the motion, that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
Ms. Chairman, before you call the roll.
Yeah.
The actual motion was to discuss. So I think you need
Discuss.
another motion now to
Okay.
approve.
Got it.
Can make a motion to amend.
Approved.
How about approve 21-03 as amended? Will that work?
That's fine, there we go.
Connie? Thanks.
Thank you.
Hacker, aye.
Sean
He's
seconded.
gonna
seconded-
say, wow. She wants to see it.
Sean seconded the motion, sorry. we're
All
finished.
right, we're done.
All right, so I'll take that as a second.
Now,
Chairman, how are you gonna vote?
Thank you.
Trustee Bowles.
Aye.
Trustee Hacker.
Aye.
Trustee Lucas.
Aye.
And Trustee Elect.
Aye.
Supervisor Prater.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, Raidu Page and Winfield Township bus. Okay, so, Raidu Page in May, oh, how far back do you guys want me to go?
Yes, we,
Last week? Last week, we did actually 4 rides in June with 2 riders. In
That was
May,
right, Page.
that was Raidu Page. Raidu Page also did in May, 11 rides with 2 riders. In April, they did 14 rides with 4 riders. Do you want me to keep going?
No, that's good for me.
Okay. And then our bus, in May, we had 47 riders and 114 stops. Okay,
Picking up a little.
absolutely. All right.
So, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, so other than just the last couple months, if we go back pre-pandemic, because I know we employ the bus driver full-time, and I think the advantage, if I'm correct on this, the advantage of the Raidu Page is it's like 24/7 service, so if anybody has something like late for the middle of the night. So pre-pandemic, was the bus driver working full-time in rides, or what was he like doing in downtime?
Yeah, he was working still. Terry, what was Terry doing prior to that?
Terry was unique.
John's talking, sorry, just so you know.
I usually don't talk at board meetings other when it's my moment at the, Terry was unique. He was a great bus driver. Steve was a good bus driver. Terry was always busy. I mean, he made his runs. He was always running that bus.
Yeah.
The bus was always going. After the pandemic, Terry retired right before the pandemic really hit.
In November, yeah.
And then we didn't have a bus for a long time, and then they brought Steve on and slowly picked him back up. But the word hasn't gotten out there because things haven't been open. Now that it's open, Steve's getting busier and busier.
Got it. So one of the reasons I was asking is, as a nurse, I know, because I was looking at the territory where our driver goes, and it's in Winfield Township, and in addition to that, there's doctor offices on Ferry Road in Warrenville. And so those are like orthopedics offices, and so as a nurse, I think, you know what, when it's age 50 and older, that's kind of when people get knees and hips replaced, and they end up going to therapy, and there is an outpatient therapist there. And while in the initial healing phase, depending on the point that they're at, they can't drive, or if they're taking a narcotic for pain, they can't drive either. So, I was wondering how feasible it would be is if we lowered the age to 50 or even 55, because a lot of times that's when you have people empty nesters and they live alone, they don't have another family member. And that's kind of why I was trying to, because you can't go by the pandemic numbers, they're down so low. So I'm just wondering, I kind of want to toss it out there and see what people think about lowering it. And if we lower the age and it turns out we have too much business. So I've got a question. So Ride DuPage is 24/7, but if we also have too many rides for our bus driver, can we give the daytime overflow to Ride DuPage?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can call Ride DuPage, absolutely. But yeah, I can make that decision.
Yeah, because,
in a heartbeat.
yeah, looking at all the different, because there's like Ride DuPage, there's all these different things, and they all have different age limits, but I believe most of them you have to be minimum 60 or 62. So could we have like just a trial until if we find out it's like too much, can we lower? What do you guys think about lowering the age? I was thinking 50, but now if we were pretty busy before the pandemic, maybe 55 would be better.
That's a me
Yeah.
decision.
What do you guys think?
That's a me decision, Judy.
Pardon me?
That's a me decision. As
that's
supervisor,
it.
yeah.
Oh, that's not something that the board votes on?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay, then when we're bringing this up for the board meeting, what are we supposed to discuss about it then?
I'm just informing you of how Ride DuPage is, and because we were talking about at one point as a board, removing the township bus at one point, and just
Okay.
taking on Ride DuPage. That was how long ago, though, guys?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Too long.
So at one point, it was discussed with Donna Smith as the supervisor, and it was constantly being Ride DuPage and Township Bus, how much the Township Bus actually does. So it's continuing until this point, until someone tells me to stop.
I got it. So maybe something that, Nicole, that you may want to consider is, even if you do it on a temporary trial basis, 55, and see how that affects ridership. And, because he's got a shuttle bus, so sometimes you can have more than one person in there. And I do know.
Now we can, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But also at the same time too, I've also extended our territory as well. We go also into Milton Township, we also go into Wayne Township quite a distance as well.
Okay. All right, so I'm just tossing it out there, thinking that, that may help more of our people.
Absolutely. Agreed. Any other questions about the bus or Ride DuPage? Moving forward, tax objections, we can talk about this now, moving forward, really nothing else has come up. Aaron Carnes really hasn't gotten in touch more with our negotiations or anything like that. Still in August is when those general assistance lawsuits or the trial is going to be happening. Other than that, That's all the information I have. Steve, anything on that you heard from Scott?
Yeah, there was an email earlier today in response to yours today
Oh,
that
was
said, we are still waiting to hear from Carnes, the attorney for the objectors, because he's focused on some pre-2017 cases right now, but it's our opinion that given the Miller ratio that we have in that case, that the objection should be withdrawn. So I think what Scott will do is approach Tax Objectors Council and insist that they be withdrawn based on the number,
Okay,
based on the extent to which accumulation has occurred, not enough to trigger or justify an objection. So should be withdrawn. We should not have any liability, but that will be our position going into the next round of the negotiation based on the email today.
Cool.
But that's, obviously gonna evolve over time as he being the objector's attorney, finally turns his attention to this. We will make that request at that time, and then he'll assess the same data we have and decide if he wants to try to fight on what to him will be an unfavorable ratio.
any questions? I'll also forward you that email that he sent to you guys. Please don't respond to that email I send you.
Right, that would be attorney-client
Yes,
information
Yeah.
and should be limited to the individuals it's sent to. Don't forward it,
yes,
please.
okay, understood. Department reports. Mark,
We're just working on 2021 assessments and probably closing sometime in October. I'd like to welcome the whole board and the new trustees, and anytime you got assessment questions, call me, come sit in my office. I'm here. That's all I gotta say. For my department.
excellent. Highway Commissioner Duza,
We're accepting paving bids on June 22nd at 10 a.m. and we're also bidding a new pickup truck the same day at 9:15 a.m. We finished our third county mowing and township mowing. We've been working installing CMPs and underground storm sewers throughout the township. We are starting to have a problem getting materials, and the price of materials are extremely high for our underground storm sewers. We do have a big project that we just submitted a permit to DuPage County up on Purnell Road. We have a 48-inch CMP, that corrugated metal pipe that's failing. We're gonna change it to a concrete pipe, but we're waiting to get our permit through the DuPage County Stormwater. But that's really about it.
excellent.
Oh, and I'd like to look forward to working with the new board and Judy.
Excellent. Welcome new board. Hello, how are you guys? Oh no, let me call her right back. I'm sorry guys. I hope you don't mind. Just one moment.
Hey, we got disconnect.
Yeah, sorry, I called you right back as soon as I heard it hang up, so.
No, that's all right. Good.
I just welcomed the new board for my department report. I went to the township officials of DuPage County meeting. Sean was there as well as trustee Lucas. I became the clerk of that organization, yay. Yeah, we will also be I'll be involved in an event for Winfield Township for on June 19th at Cantini Park. Support Over Stigma Events is doing a PTSD versus moral injury, unmasking the truth. Basically for veterans and people with post-traumatic stress disorder. I want to have our presence there with ways as well, letting them know that we counseling, anger management, stuff like that. Also letting them know veterans things that for the tax exemptions, stuff that we can do for them as a township, general assistance in areas, stuff like that. I did drive around with John Duza. Thank you very much, sir. That was fun. We had a blast. And then also I want to do congratulations to our General Assistance Director, Claudia. She had her baby Noah, and she's doing really good. He's doing really, really good. So other than that, at this moment, it's been okay. Moving forward, elected officials, Mr. Trustee Bolts.
Just have, everybody have a happy Father's Day and a safe and happy 4th of July.
That's it?
That's it. Oh, yeah, if you want to turn your air conditioning on.
Yeah, we got it set, so
Yeah.
it goes down.
I'll do work on that next time. Sorry about that. Sorry, it's a hot room.
Everybody just be safe out
Poor
there.
guy's got a tie
It encourages shorter meetings.
Trustee Hacker.
I want to say thanks for your help with the responsible bidder, guys, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Assessor, mark me out.
Everybody, enjoy Father's Day and 4th of July, that's all I have.
on. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, happy 4th of July, don't blow your fingers off. Have fun.
Trustee Lucas.
Yes, thank you, and I have taken care of patients who blow their fingers off after the 4th of July, so yeah, it's not pretty. So anyway, I just want to say, I'm looking forward to working with everyone. And Barbara, we've never really met, so I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm disappointed that I couldn't be there in person, but I am volunteering. I'm a volunteer registered nurse this week at a camp for campers have special needs. So, yeah, and believe it or not, no one has thrown out or gotten hurt in the last 45 minutes while I've been on the call, which is.
I'm knocking on wood for you, Judy.
Oh, my God, okay, yes, okay. So, so I'm looking forward to working with everyone. And Nicole, I would like to talk to you later because as a registered nurse, I'd love to attend the function with you at Cassini. That's kind of my niche that I want to be there. And actually, to what you were saying, I do want to put on the agenda for next month, talking about mental health and how we can increase our services to the people in the township. So that's kind of a perfect segue to that. And, we'll talk about putting that on the agenda. But, if anybody's got any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. I'll be in contact with you, Judy. Clerk Leomi.
Successful first meeting, and congratulations to all the new board members and returning board members. Looking forward to it. And happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Okay, I want to introduce Steve Adams to everybody, even though we kind of already introduced
I'd like to
him.
say welcome to the new board and happy Father's Day.
Yes.
No, but seriously, let me just say hello and welcome to everybody. And, want to invite you to reach out if there's things you have questions or concerns about on any of the stuff I'm working on. Feel free to give me a call.
Great. Do we need to go into executive session? Is there any requests to go into executive session to discuss anything?
Yes, I'd like to make a request.
What's that, Judy?
I'd like to go into executive, I don't know what I'm allowed to say right now when I'm making the request.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I'd like to talk about the township's role in the appeal of the contested ballot and how much money that we're spending. I understand.
That would be 2C11, the Open Meetings Act. So we could go into close pursuant to 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss pending litigation.
Okay, so that's pending litigation, absolutely. So,
And a motion, a second, and a roll call.
excellent,
Make a motion to go into executive session under 2C11,
pending litigation.
threatening litigation.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion by trustee Bolt, seconded by trustee Hacker.
Trustee Volz.
Aye.
Trustee Hacker.
Aye.
Trustee Lucas.
Aye.
Trustee Alekna.
Aye.
Supervisor Prater.
Aye. Motion passes at 7:49 PM.
Steve.
Stay on the phone, Judy. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're hanging right in there.
Where do you see that puppy?
The puppy is now smaller than the.
That's Jamie's, the reason you
And
requested.
about this much shorter than.
I just say that. Yeah.
Let him decide his own night.
And he'll send something crazy.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, thank you for this.
Thank you.